Deadlock. This game is actually amazing. If you're a fan of games like Overwatch or League of Legends, I'm not kidding. This is literally the game for you. I've never been a big MOBA person, and I've struggled to play League, and a lot of my friends are good at League, but I've never been great at League, and I've always liked FPS games. So they made a MOBA game that is third person, and it is incredible. Valve, unironically, has cooked so unbelievably hard with this thing, and it's just in closed alpha. I have not had this much fun with a game in a while. It's one of those games where I've unironically gone to bed and I've been thinking about wanting to play the game more, and I can't because the servers are down, and I stayed up till 5 a.m. If you're wondering more about like what Deadlock is, it's kind of, in my opinion, a third-person League of Legends. There are minions that push you, you have towers, and some of the gameplay that I'll be having up on the screen, you will see that there's a tier 1 tower, a tier 2 tower, and a tier 3, and then, you have to destroy the inhibitors, and then you kill the boss twice, and you win the game. And there are insane amounts of builds that the community has already made for characters that you don't even really need to know what you're doing. The build is just there and you follow the guide, essentially. Now, obviously, as you play the game more and more, you will understand what certain things do. I only have 32 hours on the game right now, but I feel like I have a pretty good handle on the macro and micro inside of the games and the big team fights. But guys, honestly, for this game being in a closed alpha, it is incredible. I, again, have not had this much fun in a video game in a while. And after the disappointment that was Overwatch 2, I was trying to look for another game to replace the whole. Marvel Rivals is coming out on December 6th. I don't know if you guys saw that. And I had a lot of fun with Marvel Rivals, but I'm being so serious, Deadlock is just better. Also, I forgot to mention, Deadlock is 6v6, which is kind of funny because a certain game that you guys mostly watch my channel about moved away from 6v6 and got worse. But let me tell you, Deadlock in 6v6 is fucking awesome. All of the characters have super unique identities, and the alts that are in the game are crazy. There's characters who have support alts, DPS alts. It's wild. There are some massive combos you can do, and you can make a lot of plays yourself too. I'll throw up a clip of me playing Lash, which is my favorite character, getting a 3K all by myself. Also, side note about Lash, I don't know if you guys can see in the gameplay, he has this thing very similar to an old character in Overwatch. His name was DPS Doomfist, and it's a slam. This character is unironically probably my biggest addiction in a long time. This game is just, it's fantastic. It has a bit of a learning curve to it though. I mean, at first you're not really going to have any idea what you're doing, but again, you got to think back whenever you play most games for the first time, especially MOBAs and FPSs with a lot of abilities and stuff like that, you don't know what counters what and how stuff interacts with other stuff. But I'm telling you guys, if you guys enjoy FPS games with abilities, you will like this game. And before anyone says, oh, shill for Valve getting paid for it, guys, I grew up playing Counter-Strike, and what they did to Counter-Strike 2, ironically similar to Overwatch 2, it just makes me depressed. So I'm not the biggest Valve supporter of all time, but they cooked with this. My two favorite characters, like I said, is Lash, and the other one's Pocket. And even just during the game, the dialogue that, like, for instance, Pocket has with himself, you can just tell that there's so much, like, character building and lore behind the characters, and it makes you feel more attached and drawn to them when you actually play them. For instance, Pocket has voice lines when you use some of his abilities referencing his dad and how his dad was like this horrible person in his life, and how if he got his hands on some of the powers he did, then he would destroy. Like, it's really crazy how much you can get from just the voice lines of one character. And it's kind of similar to Overwatch in that regard, but I feel like even Overwatch doesn't do it to the point where, like, I'll see if I have a clip of Pocket saying some of his voice lines. It's crazy. There's like actual emotion in it, and it feels like he's telling a story while you're in the middle of a fight with someone. It's really cool.
I think the worst part is that my father would be more proud of me if I was trying to kill him rather than trying to stop him. I've waited years for this. I can't waste this chance. I don't like to talk about my past, but I'm ready to move forward.
As far as the gameplay goes, obviously, it's a closed alpha. There are things that, won't be perfect. And that's fine. But for it being a closed alpha, man, is it good. There's a couple characters that are way weaker than the others. For example, I think the worst character in the game right now is definitely Yamato. The best I've seen someone do with that character is break even, and it sucks because they have a really interesting design, but I just feel like they're not fleshed out all the way. But again, it's closed alpha, so I'm willing to give them time. It really came to me as a shock that I enjoyed this game so much. Whenever my friends were describing it as like third-person League of Legends, guys, I think League of Legends is really interesting, but I suck. And no one really wants to do something that they suck at constantly. So by nature, I was worried the first time I played this game that, I would suck at it and it wouldn't be any fun. But the fact that there's an FPS element to it and the abilities have skill expression, it allows you to be way more creative and actually outplay people. I mean, you can do that in League too, but it just suits me better because of the aiming and stuff like that. I don't really know if I'm going to be making a guide or some kind of explanation for the game. This video is more just me showing my appreciation and trying to get the word out to people, if you guys haven't already, to try this game. For all of my Marvel Rival enjoyers, for all my Overwatch people, for, Smite, whatever, this game is great. And I'm not kidding, you will love it. Or maybe I'm just talking out of my ass and I really like it because I find it enjoyable, but I really do think it's good. This game brought back a feeling that I haven't had since old Overwatch 1, especially playing Lash. I mean, it felt like I was playing Doomfist all over again, with the big team fights and all the crazy things you can do inside of this game, the synergies that characters have, the lore. It's almost emotional how much it reminds me of old Overwatch. And it's really funny because the games really aren't even that similar besides the abilities. I mean, it's third person, it's a MOBA, there are minions, but it just the team fights that happen inside of this game, just in some of the clips you can imagine, but playing it yourself just explains it even better. Oh my god! There are some annoying things in the game. A lot of characters have CCs and some really goofy ultimates that will stun you in place for X amount of time, and it's really annoying. But for 99% of the things that happen to you in this game, there is counterplay to it, and if you bought the right items or if you're playing the right character, you can get out or get away from certain things. Notice the word that I'm using, counterplay. And the other game, Overwatch, that we all mostly play, does not have a lot of that right now, and it's extremely annoying. So when you get hit by CC in Overwatch, you're even more angry because you knew that there was nothing you could do. The thing about Deadlock is, though, they have CC, but there are ways to get around it, so it is frustrating, but it's a lot less frustrating whenever someone tries to use CC on you and you get out of it. For someone who plays a lot of video games, this game doesn't have that high of a skill, like curve, or at least learning curve, that's the word I should be using. So if you can pick it up fairly quick, especially with all the guides and character builds, it's not that hard. I truly think that if this game gets the support and love from a community, that it could be one of the best games Valve has ever made, possibly up there with Counter-Strike, but that might be pushing it. I'm basically placing both my feet on the ground and standing on it that I'm a dick rider for this game. It is really good. I've said it like 8 times. You get the point by now. In closing, I just want to give a round of applause to Valve. You guys did really good with this. I'm super excited to keep on playing and see the updates and see all the new characters you add and the things that you guys do. From someone's perspective who plays a lot of Overwatch and all the stigmas around Overwatch, especially Overwatch 2, it is a breath of fresh air to be playing something, again, that actually gets me hooked. Don't even get me started on when they implement a ranked game mode. I'm going to be the rank 1 Lash. You heard it here first. Anyways, though, that's really all I have to say for this video. Keeping it nice and short. I'm going to be making a Discord server soon, so if you guys don't have access to Deadlock and need an invite, I'm going to get that going, and then I'll have people in there who have it. They can pass it around and spread the game out. Also, just in case you are confused on how to play Deadlock, you have to get an invite from someone who already has it on Steam. That's how I got it. One of my friends just invited me. It's really easy to do through the game. One last time before I go, please, if you have the free time and you really want to try a new game, put in a couple, 5, 4, 3 hours into this game, and I promise you'll find yourself enjoying it. If you guys liked or enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike. Subscribe. We're almost to 3K. We're coming up on it real fast. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night, and peace.
My run is the most damaging part of my build.
Interesting.
It's a little odd, but... What? Oh my god! Oh my god! Are you killing them in their spawn with that?